What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What is happening? Welcome everyone to the Motivate Podcast Show. The Motivate Podcast Show. We always say less, but we definitely want to believe for more. Listen, let me ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself longing for something greater, something more? Maybe you're hungry for success. And I want to chop it up for the next couple of minutes. What do you do when you're hungry for more? How do you get it? Right? How do you be hungry and humble at the same time? How do you do it? Because life, as I've heard some of the younger population say, life be lifing. So I want to talk a little bit about being hungry and humble because I believe that's the key to kingdom success. Now, when I say hungry, I'm not talking about your favorite steak. I'm not talking about your favorite meal. My favorite meal, one of my favorite meals is there's a restaurant close to where I live, about a mile and a half down the road. It's called Mission Barbecue. And usually like once a month, once every 4 to 6 weeks, I get a six pack of dry rub ribs. I get the baked beans. I get the macaroni and cheese. I get the cornbread. OMG. So, anyways, I'm getting hungry just talking about it. So, but, think about this. So, you're hungry for more. Maybe it's spiritual growth. Maybe you feel a call to a bigger and better purpose. And I just want to have a conversation about that. And one of the things that we've found is that there's like five signs that you're hungry and humble at the same time, and we'll go through them on this evening. Hey, listen, do me a favor. If you find value in these videos, hit that subscribe button and then hit that notification. That way, when we post videos, you get the videos. Next month, we're gearing up for a series. The month of May is mental health, and we're gearing up for a series on men and money, men and their mind, and all of that kind of good stuff. But anyway, so you found yourself longing for more, but you wasn't really sure how to pursue it, how to get it. And so I want to have a conversation about that, right? And so one of the things that we saw is here's a sign, one of the signs. We're going to cover about four or five today. One of the signs is that you're always seeking growth. You are always seeking growth. Friend, listen, people who are hungry for knowledge grow. People who are hungry for knowledge grow. And people who are informed will always outperform people who are uninformed. People who are informed will always outperform people who are uninformed. So you're always seeking growth. You're consistently looking for ways to improve, whether it's, I don't know, learning new skills, deepening your faith, or expanding your knowledge. You're hungry for more. Professionally in the marketplace, when I'm having these conversations with sales professional entrepreneurs and business owners, I'm encouraging them. How are you expanding in your industry, your area of expertise? You should read at least 5 books a year, a minimum, and more, depending on the level of expertise that you want to possess. You should read at least 5 books on your industry. I read books. I subscribe to podcast shows. I'm getting information to develop me because I am my best asset for success in the kingdom. That's why I eat the way that I eat. I was mentioning earlier, Mission Barbecue. Once every 4 or 6 weeks. That's my meal, man. Every 4 or 6 weeks, I go to Mission Barbecue, have that meal, six pack of ribs, etc., etc. But you're looking for ways to improve, deepening your faith, expanding your knowledge. But if you're one sign that you are hungry is that you are pursuing your knowledge. Another sign that you are hungry. Remember, you got to be hungry and humble at the same time. Another sign of hungry is that you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone, go a different route tomorrow to work, engage a different group of people tomorrow, right? Go outside of your comfort zone. If you are introverted and you don't like being in crowds, find two or three people that you can express yourself to, have a conversation, say good morning to. But ladies and gentlemen, you have to be willing to get outside of your comfort zone because growth happens outside of the comfort zone. Our growth really happens outside of our comfort zone. I was reading some stats a number of years ago. I was preparing to do, I was going to do I was speaking to a group and we were talking about successful people, the signs of what's the anatomy of top producers. And so I read some information that said that 85% of people that are successful found their success from a challenging and or a difficult time. And from that challenging and or difficult time, they decided to step outside of that challenging and or difficult time and they created a mission and vision and they began to move towards it even though it seemed uncomfortable to them. Right? So are you hungry for more? Right? Because hunger often leads to discomfort. Hunger, when you want more, it's going to lead you to be uncomfortable. Stop hitting the snooze button in the morning if you want more. Stop staying up late at night when you know you have to get up early in the morning if you want more. Stop having the same conversations with the same individuals if you're hungry for more. Listen, you're going to have to get away from people that have your problems and you're going to start hanging with people who have your answers. Because hungry people show up for dinner time different than people who aren't hungry. Come on, you know that's true. You ever went somewhere and you're hungry? You're like, OMG, when I get there, I can't wait to eat this food. Or you're going to a friend's house or a party. I hope they don't wait until such and such a time to put the food out. I am hungry. You show up. When they say it's time to eat, you have your plate and your fork. You're the first one in line. But people who eat before they come, they show up. When the time is announced to come get the food, they take their time. They're not that hungry. They play with the food. No, friend, let me tell you, right now is not the time to play with your food. Right now is not the time to not eat. Right now is not the time to not show up hungry. Listen, closed mouth don't get fed on the boulevard. Who said that? Was that ASAP or someone, a rapper? Closed mouth don't get fed on the boulevard. What are you doing? What are you doing to expand yourself? What are you doing to change your situation? Who do you have in your circle that's telling you and encouraging you and holding you accountable for the things that you said you want to accomplish? Hungry people know how to be hungry and humble at the same time because that's the key, I believe, to kingdom success. Another sign of hungry people is that you're restless for purpose. You feel like there's more. You want more. You want to accomplish more, whether it's in your personal life or whether it's in your career or in your faith, in your relationship with Jesus. You are restless as it relates to the purpose. Now, if you don't know your purpose, we got a series that I'm working on right now, and it's called a faith filled why. 7 episodes. We're working on it right now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that when we go through the faith filled why is purpose. We're going to hit it from different angles, but you're restless about your purpose. You feel like there's more. There's more things that you're meant to do. This last year actually, I turned 59. I know it's difficult to tell. Maybe you can see a little bit of, a little bit of what do you call that salt, a little bit of salt with the pepper. I turned 59 last year, and I'll be 60. Can you imagine that? I'll be 60 next month, and I'm telling you, I don't know what 60 feels like. That's what kids do, right? So I woke up, man, 59 years old. I woke up and I felt like I'm ready to conquer another mountain. I was so motivated, so anticipating. Listen, you have to get up in the morning with an expectation. My favorite scripture in the morning, I train my mind to think this. I train my soul to receive this, to recite this. When my eyes open up in the morning, it comes up out of my conscience. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. To me, friend, I'm entering into a day that's already prepared. To me, friend, I'm entering into a day that was constructed and toiled and prepared by my Heavenly Father just for me. But you're restless in your purpose, right? You're restless. You strive for excellence is another sign that you're hungry. Now, understand this excellence isn't a destination, it's a journey. Excellence is a destination, it's not a journey. One of the thoughts we wrote down is you strive for excellence, not perfection. Strive for excellence, not perfection. What's the difference? Um, Excellence is a way of behaving. Excellence is a series of thoughts. Excellence is establishing a routine that leads you and keeps you in your success zone. And so when people wanted to be perfect, they treat excellent, they're looking at perfection, but what they're really doing is they're striving for excellence. Striving for excellence. I hope that makes sense. When you're hungry, you are unafraid to fail. You're not afraid to fail when you're hungry. I believe that we all need to have a little bit of risk taking in it. Now, I have a lot of risk taking in me. I remember years ago when I decided I got laid off and I'm trying to figure out what to do. And this is, I don't know, back in 2002, I decided to get a real estate license. How many years ago was that? 23 years ago, I decided to get a real estate license. And I told my wife, this is what I'm going to do. And she said, okay, you got 6 months to make this thing work. I had to make it work. I had responsibilities and duties. I was the breadwinner of the family. My wife's income wasn't enough to carry us. And at the time, our children were small. And so I grind, man. I grind. Closed mouth don't get fed on the boulevard. And I remember I got my real estate license in November 2002. And that first year in real estate, I went from being number 55 in the office to being in the top five. How did I get there? Because I was out every day hustling, knocking on doors, because I wasn't afraid to fail. I stepped out with boldness. I stepped out with confidence. I stepped out trusting and believing God. And I never, ever looked back since. So, friend, listen, when you're hungry for more, you're not afraid to fail. You understand that failure is part of the growth process. Failure is part of the growth process. Listen, I would love to invite you to be part of our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group called the Biblical Business Builders Circle. In that group, we share tips, techniques, and tools to help you grow spiritually. And most importantly, I believe that the Bible and business, they go together. So I hope that you found some value in what we share. Again, friend, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. That way, when we post new videos, you're part of the process. I am so excited. Hopefully, we'll see you soon. Let's have a great day. I'll see you.